Do you ever cross your own threshold and feel a subtle tightening in your chest before you even hang up your coat? Not because of anything obvious, no towering piles of laundry, no overflowing trash, but because the air itself feels unsettled, like the rooms have been quietly holding their breath, waiting for you to notice. I've felt that many times, and I used to think the only cure was a big, exhausting cleaning day, the kind that leaves you sore and staring at an empty sink like you've run a marathon. But in certain corners of Japan, I've met women whose homes never seem to carry that weight in the first place. Not because they work harder, but because they live differently. These women don't talk about decluttering as a task. They don't schedule organizing days or by color-coded bins. Instead, their homes feel light because they're shaped by small, steady habits, almost invisible, that prevent the heaviness from taking root at all. And one of those women, Marion, became my teacher without ever meaning to. Marion is 84, with a spine still straighter than mine, and a laugh that sounds like the air just after rain. She lives in a one-room home near the hills of Kamakura, about the size of a studio apartment in the US. But the first time I stepped inside, I realized space has little to do with square footage. The room felt as if it were breathing. That day began a week of quiet observation. I didn't take notes at first. I just watched how she moved, how she greeted her home, how she noticed small things. By the end, I understood that what she was doing wasn't about keeping tidy. It was about tending a living space like you tend a friendship, with presence, respect, and patience. Today, I'm going to share her 7 habits with you, not in the order I first saw them, but in the way they unfolded in my understanding. Habit 1, begin with scent, not sight. Most of us, when we walk into our homes, are greeted by sight first, the stack of unopened mail, the jacket draped over the back of a chair, the shoes that didn't quite make it to the closet. But Marion begins each morning with her nose. Before she opens her curtains or makes her tea, she takes a sliver of cedar, cut so thin you can almost see through it, and places it on a bit of smoldering charcoal. Within seconds, a scent like warm wood and memory fills the air. She says, "Your nose tells your heart how to enter a room." At first, I thought it was just a poetic phrase. But when I tried it at home, simmering rosemary and lemon peel in a small pot while the rest of my kitchen still sat in disarray, I felt the difference. I wasn't starting my day in battle with what needed cleaning. I was starting it in conversation with my space. Scent has this gentle power. It doesn't command you to act, it invites you to arrive. And it can be as simple as placing dry tea leaves in a shallow dish, tying a sprig of thyme with a ribbon near your sink, or letting a cinnamon stick rest in a mug of hot water. When scent comes first, the mess loses some of its urgency. The house feels less like a list of tasks, more like a place already on your side. Habit 2, the quiet art of daily micro-cleaning. If you've ever glanced at the clock mid-morning and felt like you've already fallen behind, dishes spreading across the counter, laundry making its silent accusations, the floor holding onto yesterday's crumbs, you know how quickly that heaviness can grow. Marion never lets it. And here's the thing, she doesn't do it by working harder. She does it by working smaller. She has no cleaning day, no checklist. Instead, care for her home is woven into the seams of her day. While the kettle hums, she wipes the low windowsill with a cloth dipped in cool tea. After folding a blanket in the evening, she brushes her hand over the tatami mats, as if saying goodnight to them. She never dedicates a full hour to deep cleaning, yet her home always feels freshly tended. "It's not about finishing," she told me one afternoon while rinsing a cup. "It's about greeting." When you stop seeing cleaning as a separate, heavy event and start seeing it as a natural pause between other things, the resistance melts. You don't have to do the kitchen. You can simply wipe the counter while your tea cools. You don't have to vacuum the house. You can just sweep the front step before the sun goes down. The magic isn't in how much you clean, but in how often you greet your space like an old friend you're happy to see. Habit 3. Everything touches the floor only once. It happened on my 3rd day in Marion's home. I'd set my notebook on the floor beside the low table without thinking. She noticed, lifted it gently, and placed it on the table. "The floor," she said with a soft smile, "is for walking, not for keeping." That was when I realized how much of my own clutter came from things resting in the wrong place. Grocery bags that sat for a day, mail left on a chair just for now, a coat draped over the couch because the closet felt too far away in that moment. Marion's rule is simple. When something enters the home, it either goes where it belongs or it's used right away. Nothing gets to pause on the floor, a chair, or a counter without purpose. It's not about perfection. It's about stopping that quiet accumulation of later, because later has a way of becoming weeks, and those weeks become piles. Habit 4, the let it go basket. Not every object can be decided on in the moment. Some things ask for a gentler goodbye. By her sunny window, Marion keeps what she calls her not now basket. It's not a trash bin or a donation box. It's a place for items that have started to feel extra. A scarf she hasn't worn, a dish that doesn't quite belong, a book that lost her interest. Once a week, she sits beside the basket with her tea. Some items she returns to their place. Most she thanks quietly and lets go of. It's not about rushing the goodbye, she told me. It's about giving it dignity. This basket is a space for grace, for decisions made without the pressure of the moment. It's a soft landing before an item leaves your life entirely. Habit 5, fewer surfaces, less dust. Empty space is a kind of invitation, sometimes to peace, sometimes to clutter. Marion's living room has just one shelf. On it sits a seasonal flower in a vase, a framed photograph, and a folded cloth she changes each morning. That's it. When I asked if she'd ever thought about adding more, she tilted her head and said, more isn't comfort. More is upkeep. I thought about my own home, lined with hallway tables, stacked shelving, and coffee tables that seemed to exist mostly to hold things I didn't truly notice or love. They weren't just collecting dust. They were quietly collecting my energy. When you remove a surface, you remove a landing spot for clutter. And when you keep fewer, you naturally choose more intentionally what lives there. Habit 6, give everything a home. Marion's scissors are always in the same drawer, left side. Her tea towels are always folded behind the kettle. No labels, no sticky notes, just rhythm. The house remembers for me, she says. When objects have fixed places, you stop spending your energy looking for them. You also stop creating those little, I'll just put it here for now, moments that lead to clutter. If you can't find a home for an object, maybe it doesn't belong in the house at all. Habit 7, follow natural timing. Marion doesn't fight the seasons or her own body. She sweeps in the morning light, folds laundry when the tatami mats are warm, and never scrubs the kitchen on a rainy day. The house has moods, she told me. It's easier to care for it when you notice it. I used to think cleaning had to happen on a schedule to count, but I've learned that dust will wait and dishes will wait. Your energy matters more than the clock. Some days are for folding. Some days are for breathing. Both are cared. You don't need to try all 7 habits at once. You don't even need to do them perfectly. Maybe you start with a small scent in the morning, or by giving your scissors a real home, or by clearing just one shelf. Because the goal isn't a showroom. It's a home that moves with you. One that feels less like a critic and more like a companion. And when that happens, you might just find you're not cleaning for the sake of cleaning anymore. You're caring for the place that's been quietly caring for you all along. If these 7 gentle habits gave you even a moment of ease or a breath of inspiration, I'd love for you to pass it on. Share this with a friend, a sister, or anyone whose home and heart might feel a little heavy right now. And if you'd like more stories and quiet tips like this, click like, hit subscribe, and turn on the little bell so you'll know when the next one arrives. We're not just caring for our homes here. We're learning how to live lighter, together.